The name of the movie is Nerve. Venus V. Delmonico, a high school senior from Staten Island, logs into her laptop, opens Spotify, and checks her email from CalArts University. She got accepted but is unsure about going because she doesn't want to leave her mother alone. As she writes an email to decline the offer, she gets a notification that her crush, JP Guerrero, tagged her in a photo. At the same time, her friend Sydney video calls her. They talk about Venus's CalArts application and a new online game called Nerve. Sydney, a player in the game, explains that Nerve is like Truth or Dare without the truth. Venus thinks the game looks sketchy. Later, Venus discusses college with her mom, Nancy, in the kitchen. She hasn't told her mom that she applied to CalArts. That's why Nancy still thinks her daughter will study on Staten Island and that they will be roommates. Venus suggests to her mom they rent out Mike's room on Airbnb, but Nancy gets angry and says no. Mike is Venus's brother who dies 2 years ago, and both Venus and her mother are still dealing with the loss. V, an amateur photographer, goes to the school's football match to take photos for the school newspaper. Her friend Sydney, a cheerleader, asks a friend to film her for Nerve before the game starts. Turns out, she has a dare from the game and has to show her naked but during the match. Everyone is shocked, but Sydney completes the challenge and wins a few bucks in the process. Next, we see all kinds of challenges completed on Nerve. When you sign up as a player, the game takes all your data and knows what kind of challenges to send. Anonymous watchers pay to see their favorite players compete in the finals. The watchers can also give dares to the players and are encouraged to film them at all times. Venus and Sydney are sitting in a fast food restaurant with their friends when they start arguing about the game. Sydney insults V, saying she always stays in her comfort zone and can't understand the game. She tells V that in real life, she's not a player, only a watcher, and dares her to make the first move with JP and say hi. V refuses the dare, so Sydney goes to JP herself and asks him if he has a girlfriend. When he learns she's asking for Venus, he says he's not interested in V and that she's not his type. Venus is embarrassed in front of everyone, so she leaves the restaurant, goes home, and in a fit of anger, signs up for Nerve as a player. The robot voice from the game explains that the 2 players with the most watchers go to the finale and then explains the 3 rules. All dares must be filmed to be approved, a player will get eliminated if they fail or bail, and snitches get stitches. Then the game asks for her fingerprint to ID her. As she puts her finger on the screen, Nerve automatically creates her profile, taking all her information, including bank accounts, pictures, and favorite books. She immediately gets a dare to kiss a stranger in a diner for $100. V takes one of her best friends, Tommy, who warns her about the game and says some kids died because of it. Tommy, a computer geek, explains that the game can't be stopped because everyone who logs on becomes a new server. When they arrive at the diner where she is supposed to kiss a stranger, V is nervous but decides to kiss a guy reading her favorite book, To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. She goes to the stranger, and they start talking about the book. The guy is curious about what's going to happen in the novel, but V nervously kisses him and completes the dare. In an instant, she runs away and hides in Tommy's booth, who's filming the dare. The mysterious guy disappears, but Tommy and V quickly notice him dancing and singing in the diner. Venus thinks he's singing to her, but Tommy explains it's all part of the game. The guy, Ian, is playing the game too and has a dare just like she did. Ian completes the challenge and sits right next to V and Tommy. Then he tells them how he was reading To the Lighthouse because that was a dare too. While talking, both Ian and Venus get another dare. They have to go to the city together for $200. Venus is reluctant at first, but she likes Ian and is having fun, so she decides to go. They get on Ian's motorcycle and start driving toward the city. Meanwhile, Sydney is completing another dare. She has to pretend to fart on people. She's having a great time until she learns that V entered the game too and that she's rapidly gaining watchers. At the same time, Venus is enjoying her time with Ian, but they have to part ways because they completed the challenge. As she awkwardly says her goodbyes, she gets dared to try on a dress in an expensive store. Meanwhile, Nancy is confused because she's receiving lots of money in her bank account under V's name. Also, Tommy is concerned about V's safety, so he signs up as a watcher and starts watching her feed. In the store, V is having a great time. Plus, she finds out Ian has the same challenge as her, so they spend more time together, this time dressed in couture. But as they have fun, another player, Ty, has a dare to steal their clothes from the changing rooms. V and Ian soon notice their clothes are missing. The dress V is wearing costs over $2,000, so she starts panicking because she can't afford it. Wondering what's going on, both of them get another challenge, to leave the store for $2,500. Since their old clothes are gone and they don't have any money, they must leave without paying. But V figures out another solution. She notices how the dare doesn't specify they need to leave the store with clothes on, so they start running toward the exit in their underwear. When they arrive at the motorcycle, they find the expensive clothes attached to the handles, with receipts. Apparently, one of the watchers bought the clothes for them. Tommy still suspects the game, so he calls Sydney and talks about V behind her back. Sydney learns V's in the top 10 players and gets jealous. Tommy also contacts one of his hacker friends to get a passkey to a site called Aruba to find more about Ian and Nerve. He learns that Ian was part of another series of challenges in Seattle that ended tragically, with a player dying. Meanwhile, Venus gets a new dare to get a tattoo that Ian chooses. Since he remembered her favorite book, he picks a lighthouse. They start opening up and get closer to each other. The Watchers like to see them as a couple, so they give them another challenge. But this one is not that easy. Ian has to drive blindfolded at 60 miles per hour through New York City, and trust V to give him the right directions. All this for $10,000. V doesn't want to do the challenge, but Ian convinces her to stay. They go on a dangerous adventure and manage to complete the dare, win the money, and even kiss at the end. Soon, they gain a massive following and become sort of celebrities in the Nerve community. Sydney and V's other friends are at a party watching a live stream of Ian and V, filmed by other watchers. Sydney gets upset because she isn't the center of attention anymore. Plus, during the live stream, Ian starts asking V about Sydney and she starts bashing her friend. She tells him that Sydney always puts her down and uses her to feel better about her own insecurities. Ian then suggests they go to the party where Sydney is at so that V can show her how cool she really is. Venus doesn't know she's actually being recorded by Ian and that everybody at the party hears her gossiping. Meanwhile, Nancy calls Tommy and asks him why V isn't returning her calls and why she is receiving a lot of money in her bank account. Tommy lies to her, telling her that V is playing online poker and that's how she wins the money. At the party, nobody likes Sydney, especially after they hear how mean she's been to V. So the Watchers start plotting a dangerous dare for her. Soon, as she's dancing, Sydney's phone beeps. It's a new dare, to walk on a ladder from one building to another. She's drunk but still decides to do it. She thinks she can use the attention from Watchers after the scandal with V. As she's walking the ladder in high heels, other people at the party are filming her. Sydney's dare to walk on a ladder between buildings becomes tense as she realizes she must film herself to complete it. Amidst arguments from onlookers, she loses focus, slips, and fails the challenge, getting eliminated from the game. This event highlights the increasing danger of Nerve's challenges, as other players also fail at risky dares. Meanwhile, Venus and Ian, now seen as celebrities by Nerve Watchers, arrive at a hotel party where they are greeted like stars. Venus, however, is dismayed to learn that Sydney has been kicked out of the game. To her shock, she discovers Sydney making out with JP, her crush, leading to a heated confrontation between the two friends. Hurtful words are exchanged, further straining their relationship. During their heated argument, Sydney insults V by suggesting that the most interesting thing about her is her deceased brother. As they clash, V receives a new dare, to complete Sydney's failed challenge, offering a $15,000 prize. Determined to outdo Sydney, V successfully walks the ladder, earning herself first place in the game. Tommy reveals to V that Ian orchestrated the fight between her and Sydney as part of a dare. Feeling betrayed, V confronts Ian, who tries to explain himself. However, V is too angry and runs off to contact the police. Despite Ian's warning about the consequences, she finds an officer and begins recounting everything that has happened. Unbeknownst to V, all the money from her mother's bank account goes missing at that exact moment, a consequence of her breaking the game's rules. Ty, feeling remorseful, apologizes to V before unexpectedly punching her in the face as part of his dare. V then wakes up in a storage unit where a computer instructs her that she must win the finals to exit the game. She is told to board the Staten Island ferry. However, before she can do so, Ian finds her and reveals that she is now a prisoner of the game. Ian explains to V that he and Ty played the game the previous year, during which one of their friends died. Despite reporting it to the police, they were not taken seriously, and their lives spiraled out of control. The game then punished them by wiping out their family's bank accounts. Ian and Ty now aim to win the final to return their lives to normal. Ian offers to help V by arranging a challenging dare to beat Ty and ensure her victory in the finals. However, V decides to seek assistance from Tommy instead. Tommy arrives with Sydney, who apologizes to V, and they reconcile. V explains her plan to Tommy, who is to change Nerve's code to reveal all the Watchers' identities, forcing them to log out and stop the game. She also sends Sydney on a secret mission, the details of which are not revealed until later. V boards the ferry, where Ian is completing his dare. He must climb a tall building, hang from a crane with one hand for 5 seconds, and successfully completes the challenge, advancing to the final round. V receives a paper bag containing a gun, which serves as the entrance ticket for the final competition. Meanwhile, Nancy learns about the game and watches the live feed, prompting her to visit Tommy in the hacker's den. In the final round, V and Ian are surrounded by anonymous watchers wearing masks in a stadium. Their ultimate dare is to shoot each other, with the first shooter declared the winner. Ian urges V to shoot him to win, but she cannot bring herself to do it, resulting in no winner being declared. Meanwhile, Tommy and Nancy, along with their hacker friends, are attempting to change the game's code and reveal the anonymous watchers, but they encounter difficulties due to numerous bots blocking their efforts. As the tense standoff continues in the ring, Ty suddenly appears with a gun, showing his willingness to shoot Ian to win the game. V steps in and confronts the crowd, calling them cowards for their actions and questioning if they truly want someone to die for a game. Ty, however, defends the crowd and insists on continuing with the dare. In a bold move, V dares Ty to shoot her, and when he turns to the crowd for approval, they overwhelmingly support it. The crowd votes on their phones, with most voting yes. Ty shoots V, and the crowd's decision is final. Meanwhile, V's mother, Tommy, and Sydney watch the events unfold on a live stream. Ian rushes to V's side, only to discover that she is not seriously injured. Tommy and the hackers successfully change the game's code, revealing the identities of all the watchers and notifying them that they are accomplices to attempted murder. Uncomfortable, the watchers begin to sign out and leave the stadium. As Ty approaches Ian and V suddenly gets up, revealing that Sydney had persuaded Ty to participate in their plan to take down Nerve. Ty had shot V with a blank, and the blood was fake. The hackers return Nancy's money to her bank account, and V goes on to attend CalArts and enters into a happy relationship with Ian. She remains friends with Tommy and Sydney, and most importantly, Nerve no longer exists. If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.